This is the desert of North Africa, present day. Thousands of square miles of harsh, inhospitable terrain. But had you been here in December 1940, this was ground zero. Operation Compass was the first major British offensive of the Second World War in North Africa. It took place between the 9th of December 1940 and the 9th of February 1941 in the deserts of Egypt and eastern Libya. What began as a planned 5-day raid developed into one of the most decisive Allied victories of the early war. At the start of the campaign, the British-led Western Desert Force, commanded by Lieutenant General Richard O'Connor, consisted of around 36,000 troops. These included British, Australian, Indian and other Commonwealth soldiers. They were supported by about 275 tanks, artillery and aircraft from the Royal Air Force. Facing them was the Italian 10th Army, commanded initially by Marshal Rodolfo Graziani. The Italians had around 150,000 soldiers, supported by hundreds of tanks and artillery pieces. Although they greatly outnumbered the British, many of their tanks were outdated, communications were poor, and their troops were spread across a series of isolated, fortified camps, making mutual support difficult. The campaign began after the Italian invasion of Egypt had stalled. Instead of advancing further, the Italians dug into defensive positions around Sidi Barrani. The British decided to exploit this pause with a surprise attack. The key tactic used during Operation Compass was speed, surprise and maneuver warfare. Rather than launching a direct assault against every Italian position, British forces moved through gaps in the desert, attacking isolated camps one by one before reinforcements could arrive. Careful reconnaissance helped identify weak points, whilst armoured units bypassed strong defences to strike at supply lines and headquarters. Another important feature of the operation was the close cooperation between infantry, tanks, artillery and aircraft. Infantry cleared enemy positions while tanks broke through defensive lines. Artillery provided concentrated fire support and the Royal Air Force attacked Italian airfields, transport routes and communications. This combined arms approach gave the smaller British force a significant advantage. The operation quickly exceeded expectations. Within days, Sidi Barrani had fallen and tens of thousands of Italian troops had surrendered. Rather than ending the offensive as originally planned, British commanders continued west into Libya. They captured key ports including Bardia in January 1941 and Tobruk later that month. The advance continued across hundreds of kilometres of desert. The final phase came in early February when British forces used a bold flanking movement to cut off the retreating Italian army near Baie Forme. By racing across the desert ahead of the Italians, they blocked the coastal road that trapped much of the Italian 10th Army. After fierce fighting, the remaining Italian forces surrendered on the 7th of February 1941, effectively ending the campaign. The results of Operation Compass were extraordinary. The British and Commonwealth forces advanced approximately 800 kilometres from western Egypt to El Agheila in Libya. They captured around 130,000 Italian prisoners, more than 400 tanks and over 1,200 artillery guns. British and Commonwealth casualties were comparatively light, at roughly 2,000 killed, wounded and missing. Operation Compass demonstrated that well-trained, highly mobile forces using surprise and coordinated attacks could defeat a much larger army. It also exposed weaknesses in the Italian leadership, equipment and organisation. However, the victory was not fully exploited because many experienced British units were later diverted to assist Greece. This reduced British strength in North Africa and gave Germany the opportunity to send the Africa Corps under General Erwin Rommel in February 1941, beginning a new phase of the North African campaign. In summary, Operation Compass transformed a limited raid into a remarkable military success. Through effective planning, mobility, surprise and combined arms tactics, a force of just 36,000 troops defeated an army of around 150,000, captured vast quantities of equipment and secured one of the Allies' first major victories of the Second World War.